right, welcome back to another episode of Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, the Daily Walk Edition. This is episode number 52. I'm back at Red Morton Park in beautiful Redwood City, California, and I'm out here before the rain starts. It's supposed to rain throughout most of the afternoon, but I checked the weather report, and there's a little bit of a break right now. So I'm going to try to get this video in here before it starts to come down. Lots of people are entering the park, so I guess there's something going on over here. But anyway, I'm going to try to avoid this high traffic area. But I'm back after another amazing weekend. I spent the weekend with my activity partner, this lady I've been hanging out with. She's pretty cool. And we did a couple of 7-mile hikes. We did a 7-mile hike on Saturday and another 7-mile hike yesterday on Sunday. And it feels amazing to just get out there and enjoy the weekends. And that's why the men out there that have decided to withdraw from women because of the way the world is today. I mean, I understand why you're doing it. The stove is hot. But, you're missing out on, doing these fun things. And this is what I feel, life was meant to be. But it's your choice how you want to live your life. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I'm just saying that I enjoy hiking with a lady. I more so enjoy it, hiking with guys. So, but yeah, I'm back. And let me just go ahead and get right to the topic here right away today because, some interesting things already happened this morning. And I'll mention that here in a second. The topic today is Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. Daily Walk Edition, episode number 52 is, should you give people second or third chances? How many chances should you give someone? And then the other part is I did an interview this morning. It was a last-minute impromptu interview with Manny Rivera on his channel. He interviewed me. Manny Rivera runs the AkoRyu, AkoRyu channel on YouTube. So check it out. And I'll be sharing a link to that below here in the description of this video, wherever you see it, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, or my website. So one more time, the topic is, should you give people a second or third chance? How many chances should you give someone? And the other part is I did an interview, an impromptu last-minute interview this morning on Manny Rivera's AkoRyu, AkoRyu channel, where he interviewed me. And check it out. So let's just talk about the interview I did this morning. I'm going to mention this very briefly here. I'm starting to feel a drop or two, so I'm hoping it doesn't start to dump on me in the middle of this recording here. Man's got to do what a man's got to do. We need to keep moving forward in any weather. Come rain, come shine, come snow if you're in a snow area. Regardless of how adverse the weather may be, you got to still get out there and kick ass. That's masculine energy. That's what us guys do. Yeah, I kind of sound like Tim Taylor back from the Home Improvement days. Many of you young bucks out there probably don't remember the show Home Improvement with Tim Taylor. Back in those days, shows were great. Now, TV shows suck. It's all about fake reality TV and shit like that. But anyway. So, yeah, Manny Rivera reached out to me this morning and asked me if I'm around to do a show or an interview. And, yeah, I was around. Just catching up on some emails and taking care of some other things in the morning, as I normally do with my other businesses outside of my coaching business. Most of you that know me by now know that this business right now is still fairly new. It's not my primary income source, so I do run some other businesses. And I had some time, so I said, hey, Manny, yeah, let's do it. What time do you want to do it? 1 p.m. Eastern, my time, 10 a.m. Pacific, your time. Fantastic. We got together, did a live interview on his show for a couple of hours, and it was just amazing. Had a great time. Definitely love, chatting it up with Manny Rivera, the AkoRyu channel. So that's enough of that. That's all I'm going to say about that. Before I move forward to the actual topic here, I'm just going to say subscribe to Manny Rivera's AkoRyu channel. The link to subscribe to his channel is below in the description of wherever you're viewing this video. And then there'll be a separate link directly to the replay of the live interview Manny did on me or with me earlier this morning. The only thing I'll say about that interview is I noticed as I was watching parts of the replay is that Manny had the camera on me the entire time. He was using the Hangouts on air version through YouTube to do it live, and he didn't have auto switching on, so you can't see Manny as he's speaking. So you can see my beautiful, wonderful, lovely face the entire time, but you are not going to see Manny Rivera. So he's still kind of learning how to do all this stuff. He's saying, I'm figuring out all the kinks still, but at least I'm putting myself out there and sharing the message. And that's all that really matters, Manny. You'll figure out all the technical stuff, as time goes on. I just didn't wake up one day and know how to do this. Through trial and error, I figured it out. And that's that. So, yeah, check out the interview. Check out the links below in the description to connect with Manny. And, there's going to be much more coming with Manny and I. Manny and I may end up doing a weekly or bi-weekly show as well. In addition to the show that I've mentioned I'm going to be doing with Charles F. Gray. If I remember correctly, I believe that show is going to be launching on Tuesday, January 29th at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. That show is going to be called Real MGTow Talk with Charles F. Gray and Coach Eli. And I'm going to start doing a few more promos on that. I may even do a couple of brief live streams with Charles F. Gray on my channel or his channel over the next couple of weeks before we do the first live show. So look out for that. That's pretty much what's going on. You're pretty much up to date with stuff going on behind the scenes, what's coming soon. And where I was at this weekend, I actually enjoyed my fucking weekend. It was great. So, anyway. All right, yeah, it is windy out here, so you can probably hear some of the wind coming through the mic. But there are still a decent amount of people out here. Maybe people are just trying to get their walks in or their bike rides in before the rain comes. Got to get your exercise in. Exercise is important, especially as you get older. The more fit you are as you get older, the better it is for your health. It becomes more and more crucial. So it's really nice to see people getting out at the park, even though it's not the best weather. And I have my sunglasses on because the sun has been popping in and out. I just don't want to be blinded if the sun kind of pops out of the clouds that are in the sky. As you can see, clouds are kind of coming in. It's still fairly somewhat clear, but those clouds are going to roll in, and it's going to start to dump out here soon. By the way, in my last video, there were some syncing issues towards the second half of the video. I'm now starting to record my daily walks in 720p HD at 60 frames per second. Kind of explained that in my last video. Every so often when you do record videos on an iPhone or a mobile device, sometimes something freak happens and it starts to get off sync, or if it's in sync initially, it'll progressively move out of sync. That happens maybe once out of every 100 videos you record. There's nothing you can do about that. That's just like a freak type of glitch. So it has nothing to do with my technical skills or anyone else's technical skills. It just kind of happens, from time to time. Hopefully this video will be completely in sync. And yeah, again, let me know what you think about the quality, the 720p HD at 60 frames per second compared to my other videos. Again, I have an iPhone 6 Plus. I haven't upgraded the latest iPhone yet, and the front camera only records at 720p, which is why I'm not recording at 1080p. But eventually, when I get my new iPhone, which will probably be when the next one gets released later on this year, I'll be recording these in 1080p and possibly even at 60 frames per second. The only problem is the files are a hell of a lot bigger. When you do that, it takes longer to process them, but it's worth it. It's worth it. So anyway, enough of all that technical BS jargon that most people don't understand. I'm just big on quality. I'm big on quality video and quality sound. I honestly feel that the better your quality is, the more prone people are going to watch your videos, and the longer they're going to watch your videos as well. So just a little tip there once again. All right, so let's get to the main topic here today. I don't know if this is going to be the longest video or not. It may only be 35 or 40 minutes. It just all depends. Kind of got through the first part fairly quickly here. Let's talk about, should you give people a second or third chance? And how many chances should you give someone? I have a few examples here to share from my personal life experiences, because as I always mention in my videos, my coaching style involves sharing my personal experiences in regards to similar things that you may be currently going through or have gone through in the past. And that way you can compare what happened to me and how I handle it. You can compare it to, what happened to you and how you handled it. And together we can learn. It's one of the best ways to learn. So again, I love sharing my personal experiences because what do people learn from? People are not born to be an expert at something. You're not going to just pop out of your mother's womb and say, I'm an expert on relationships and shit like that. No, it doesn't work that way. And, even if, you're 20 or 30 years old and you've had some experience, doesn't make you an expert. The more and more experience that you get, the more of an expert you're going to become over the course of time, to the point of where you can do what I do. Get out here every day and record a video almost every day and talk about a different subject in regards to what you're an expert at. So yes, I do consider myself an expert at this. Does that mean I'm not capable of making mistakes or still fucking up, certain aspects? Sure. Many people out there, think because I'm a coach, I automatically should have like the perfect relationship or marriage as an example. Most coaches out there don't have that, okay? Just because I'm not married or in a, good relationship right now doesn't mean I'm not capable of being in one or know what I'm talking about. I'm experiencing life just like everyone else is experiencing, okay? It really makes me wonder to the people out there that, scrutinize coaches like myself or myself directly and say, well, you've had a couple of bad relationships. Excuse me. You're a 45-year-old man. You're not married yet. You want to be married. You don't have that yet. So, why should I follow you? Just because I don't have that doesn't mean I don't know how to get that, how to approach it, or what it entails and how to talk about it. It just means it hasn't happened for me yet. But I am aware of what I'm talking, and I'm aware of what I'm doing, and I'm aware of what I need to do to hopefully have the best chance of making that happen. Relationships and marriages are not a guarantee, even if you do everything right. I could do everything right, which I know I haven't, and I don't think anyone else has. But I could do everything right, and it could still fail. Does that mean I'm not qualified to talk about this stuff or know what I'm talking about? No, it just means I have not been fortunate enough to have that aspect fulfilled in my life. But I'm going to keep moving forward. Okay? But I do know what I've been through. And I do know, what works in most cases and what doesn't work in some cases. Okay? Relationships are very unique. They're extremely unique. And again, like I said, sometimes you can do everything right and it just isn't good enough for some people. So just kind of wanted to throw that out there. So should you give people a second or third chance? And how many chances should you give someone? The first example I want to talk about here is, giving certain people out here within the YouTube community that I've been a part of, or the YouTube communities that I've been a part of, a second chance or even a third chance. I've been getting a lot of feedback lately from many people that were a part of my former YouTube channel or a part of my former coaching practice, which back then I was only sharing my videos on YouTube. Now I put them on Facebook, and they're on my website as well. So I like to call it my coaching practice or my network. Back then, a lot of people that were a part of my network knew what I had been through in the past, knew that I got involved with some people on YouTube, and pretty much, was a part of a huge, dramatic, crazy mess. And many people also are aware that, I had my ex-girlfriend, who was my girlfriend at the time, on my channel with me, which was a big mistake. Now, I will tell you folks, all of those things that happened back then, I didn't have any experience on them. I've been kind of talking about this a lot lately. I even mentioned it in my interview earlier today with Manny Rivera. I learned to not bring a girlfriend onto my channel again. I learned, where to focus my time at and where to not focus my time at with people out on YouTube. And I've, taken all of that into consideration. Excuse me, let me clear my throat here. My apologies. I was probably pretty loud there. Throughout all those experiences, which is what I'm trying to say, I've learned this time around where to focus most of my time at and where to not focus most of my time at. Okay? Now, have I gotten involved with some of the people that I used to be involved with? Or, have I had a couple of back and forths through some videos with some people that were trolling me and, were making my life miserable in the past? Maybe I have. Okay? But what I haven't done is I haven't gone on any live streams with them. And I haven't wasted any more energy on them than I want to or I feel is necessary. But I also feel, for example, purposes that I've been stating a lot lately, they are good examples to share with people of what not to do, if you don't want to go through what I went through in the past. So a lot of people are thinking I'm trying to poke the bear and I'm trying to, start up the drama pot again with these same groups of people, which is what I'm trying to say from my former channel last year and maybe even some of 2017. That's not what's happening here. I've learned from all of this. It's been a learning experience. And ironically, the reason why I wanted to create this topic today in regards to should you give people a second or third chance, how many chances should you give people? Ironically, many of the people from the past that were trolling me and were my worst enemies per se have actually been very civil with me or become good friends. Like I mentioned for the past several weeks, I think for almost a month now, I've been a part of a Discord group run by a very popular man that some people consider a troll. He's actually not really a troll. He's a real human being. His name is Mad Shangy. He lives out in Canada, and his purpose online is to expose, shady behavior from people that are coming out here on YouTube and social media and basically trying to shield themselves in a fake way and take advantage of people just to try to sell them anything and everything under the sun. So I got involved with that group, and within his group in the Discord, there are many men and women in there where in the past were kind of trolling me and almost even kind of ridiculing my work in the past. And now we become great friends because now they've had more experiences to deal with over the past year or so. And they see that I'm actually a decent person And they themselves, even though they were kind of trolling me a bit, they themselves were getting trolled by other people in similar ways that I've been getting trolled. So now I feel like all of the good people, you know, all the people that ended up being good people, which is what I'm trying to say, from when I was formerly on YouTube, on my former channel, have now learned from their mistakes and have learned from their experiences in similar ways I have, and now we've all congregated together to not only help each other out, protect each other, and support each other, but to basically, you know, protect ourselves and others from these shills and trolls out there that are still kind of trying to, you know, stir the pot with us in some ways. That's always going to happen out there. So, in this situation here, me coming back a second time around to run my coaching business through YouTube, you know, did I give these people a chance, a second chance, and some people a third chance? Absolutely. Was it worth it? Maybe that's yet to be determined, but for the most part, right now, it seems like it's been worth it. What a lot of people don't realize is that people learn from their mistakes. We're not, like I mentioned earlier, we're not born experts out here in life. We each navigate life as an individual, and we learn how to better navigate through it and how to better deal with things based on our personal experiences. And if we haven't been through something, we're more than likely going to make a bunch of mistakes the first time, which is what I'm trying to say, when we, you know, approach any particular thing, like I said, that we don't have any experience on. Okay? In many cases, the second time around, with many people, if you revisit a friendship or a relationship or a marriage or whatever, in many cases, if you revisit something a second time around, it is because all parties involved have better learned how to handle themselves, where in the past they didn't have much experience in how to handle those situations. And now they feel that, you know, hey, it's worth connecting with this person or getting back with this person or whatever. In many cases, the second time around, you know, can be bigger and better than ever. It all depends, okay? It all totally depends on the situation. It's up to you to decide if you feel someone deserves a second or even a third chance. There are some people out there that I call hot and cold people, or two-faced people, or people out there that are just, you know, in such a shitty place in their lives emotionally that they go back and forth, stirring up the drama pot just to, you know, appease themselves and get their mind off of the emotional drama that they're living within their lives. Now, I've dealt with some of those people, and they're actually pretty decent people. They're actually pretty decent people. But those are the types of people that no matter how many chances you give them, they're not in a place right now where, you know, they want to be a part of your network for the right reasons. So at some point, with certain people, you got to cut them off the knees and move forward and just ignore them. Or if they keep coming back under different accounts, you block them and you move forward. That's going to happen. So for some people or many people, it's worth giving them a second chance or a third chance. And others, after you give them 2 or 3 or 4 chances because you're a good person and you have a forgiving nature, you know, if you give someone 2, 3, 4, 5 chances, and each time they keep promising you they're going to change for the better, or they're going to be more civil to you, or, you know, they're not going to behave in the weird, erratic, and awkward ways they've been behaving, if they don't change, then you got to move forward and say, hey, you know what, man? I'm going to let you go. It's not worth my time. Down the road, you know what? If you figure out what's pissing me off about you and making me not want to be your friend or hang out with you, and you want to try again and you're ready, reach out to me. Until then, I'm going to let you go, because I'm not going to keep going back and forth, revisiting the same thing 4, 5, 6, 7 times with you expecting a different result. That's insane The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, or if you keep, giving people chances, like 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8 chances over the same mistake they're making, and they still don't correct that mistake, you got to let them go, because if not, then you're insane for giving them that many chances. Now, there are some people out there that are so stone cold, and they don't have a forgiving nature, and they don't give people second chances. For those people, I just feel like you've got your own issues you have to work through, because any human being out there that does not have a forgiving and loving nature and looks at things through a positive light instead of a negative light, then you've got more issues than what I can help you with. Then you've got some emotional issues deep within, and, like maybe you may need to see a psychiatrist, psychologist, or something like that. I'm not trying to be rude by saying that, but look, I can't help people like that. Number one, I'm not qualified as a coach. I don't have a psychology degree. And even if I understand what you're going through, which I do, I'm not qualified to talk about it with you. And quite frankly, I don't want to deal with someone like you. I want to work with people that are good, normal people that are coachable. That are open to suggestions and change and just need the help and guidance of someone like me that has more experience. When you look at a coach and, when you look at trying to find the right coach to hire to help you through things, you want to look and see how much experience he or she has. Okay? And if they have more experience than you, and you watch their videos or you follow their content in some capacity, and you feel they can help you out through some things you're struggling with, whether it involves personal or business relationships, that may be somebody you want to hire to help you. But you have to be open to it, and you have to be coachable. If you have emotional issues, that stem beyond a normal scope, at that point you need more professional help, such as a psychologist or psychiatrist, because your problem is more deeply rooted, than what I can help you with, or what I'm allowed to help you with, even though I may understand what you're going through. Okay? How far have we gone? Let's see. 27 minutes. I hope this video is in sync today. I'm recording in 720p, 60 frames per second once again. So I hope this whole thing is in sync to give you folks a better experience here. All right, so let me mention one more situation here in regards to giving someone, 2 or 3 chances, or how many chances should you give someone, even if you have a forgiving nature. So most of you that have been following me for a while know my last 2 relationships, know the story about my last 2 relationships. If you don't, 2 relationships ago, I was dating someone that cheated on me. And then my last relationship, I was dating, a single mother with 2 kids that was recently out of a divorce. In between those relationships, in between the relationship with the lady that cheated on me and dating the lady that had, 2 children from a previous marriage, okay, I go on a bunch of dates. I don't sleep with all these women, but I go on a bunch of dates and I start hanging out with women as activity partners, platonic partners, and I leave an open mind. If it's meant to become romantic or go somewhere, that's fine. I'm not like most guys out there that feel the need to have sex with a woman as soon as possible after I meet her. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But anyway, I was, before I met my now recent ex, after the relationship ended with the lady that cheated on me, I was hanging out with this, 36-year-old lady who was almost 37. And she was pretty cute, She was pretty cool. She was lots of fun. She had a foul mouth like myself. And, when we first started chatting, we would joke around. And we ended up getting along really, really well. The problem was she had a pretty strange work schedule that I felt she had difficulty balancing. This particular lady was a dog trainer that worked at a dog training company and at a dog babysitting company as well at the same time, where people would take their pets during the day while they're working, kind of like babysitting but for dogs, okay? And she would work from like 6 a.m. until, oh, it's a dog barking. She would work from 6 a.m. in the morning until, when was it? Until like 3 p.m., typically Mondays through Fridays. I think some Saturdays she worked. But she would work from like 6 a.m. till like 3 p.m. And then after 3 p.m., she had time to hang out, but she liked to get to bed like by like 9 o'clock, like 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night, because, she wanted to have enough sleep before the next day's work. Well, I lived an hour away from her, and there's a lot of traffic to travel to see her. And when we first started hanging out, her and I would do some hikes as well, some walks. We did some dinners, and she was fun to hang out with and shit like that. But after a couple of weeks of me running a little bit behind, because I'm an entrepreneur, I work during the day. And in order for me to get out to her area by the time she gets off of work, she wanted to hang out like at 4 p.m. I would have to leave like at 2 p.m. from wherever I was at, whether I was at my office or home office working. Okay? And sometimes as an entrepreneur, I get a client during the day and I have to take care of that client. And I have to, do what I got to do to pay my bills so I can afford to take out a lady like this. After a few weeks of me running behind, there were times where I couldn't make it out there until 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, sometimes 6 o'clock in the evening. She started calling me on this. She started getting frustrated. She started saying, I don't have a whole lot of time, to spend. I have to be in bed by 8:30 or 9 o'clock to go to work the next day, and you coming late is giving us less time to hang out together. She started calling me out on that. And I was telling her, I said, look, you and I have different schedules. Okay? You and I have different schedules. Now, I do have more flexibility than you because I'm an entrepreneur, but that doesn't mean I can avoid my clients that are paying my bills, which allow me to go out with you or take you out to a dinner or do something with you. Okay? And she kind of understood that at first, right? But her just questioning it 2 weeks into hanging out with her, I kind of felt it was way the fuck too soon. And that started putting me on edge a little bit. I wasn't ready to stop seeing her at that point. I kind of wanted to see how it was going to go. So in essence, I had given her a chance because I felt like she was being ridiculous. I felt like she was more concerned about what's in it for her than what's in it, not just for me, but for us. She was looking at it from a very selfish standpoint. And whenever I'm with anybody, especially if I'm, going on some dates with a woman to see if she's somebody I want to date, if I sense any selfishness coming from them, I'm out. It doesn't work for me. I don't want to be with a selfish person because I'm definitely not a selfish person, okay? So what happened the following week? I ran late a few times where I called her saying, hey, I have clients and this to deal with, and she got upset at me again. Okay? Not super upset, but she called me on it again. So now it's becoming an issue. Now I'm beginning to realize that this woman is having an issue with this. And again, she's not appreciating the fact that my work schedule is a bit different. And I need to do what I do to make the money, just like you need to do what you do to make the money. I'm not sitting there getting mad at you for working 6 a.m. to 3 p.m., which is kind of an odd schedule. I mean, some people have it, but most people will work like a 9 to 5 or a night job or whatever, right? Okay? I wasn't giving her any shit about it, but 3 weeks into this, and remember, this has been a platonic, kind of like a friendship that we were trying to work into a possible relationship. We were just hanging out, okay? 3 weeks into this is the second time now that she's questioned me on this. At this point, I was starting to get a little bit annoyed by it, but I wasn't annoyed enough to walk away. Coach Eli typically has a 3 strikes and you're out rule. Don't worry, that story is definitely coming up next. So I talked with her again. I said, look, I'm going to try to do my best to kind of switch things around. I can't promise you anything because, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. I technically should be taking calls at any time when my clients call me because they're paying my bills. If they need me to be there, I need to be there for them. Now, within reason, you know, I can, you know, if somebody calls me after 5 or 6 o'clock, I can, you know, get back to them the next day. But if they call me during business hours, I've got to take care of them. And just because you work from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. doesn't mean the business day ends for me. My business day doesn't end until 5 or 6. Okay? And just because you need to be in bed by 8:30 at night to get to work the next day doesn't mean I'm going to completely change my life just to make yours as perfect as you want it to be. You got to make compromises. We could have made compromises. Now, we lived an hour away, right? We could have compromised and maybe just hung out for a couple of hours for dinner every now and then and hang out more time on our days off on the weekends and stuff, which would have been better, right? And if that were to work out, and we were seeing each other for 6 months or a year, maybe I would have moved closer to where she lived, or I would have moved her closer to me, and we could have spent more time together that way. But rather than trying to compromise and figure things out, this chick tried to get me to work my schedule around hers rather than trying to compromise and work on something that would work for the both of us. Okay, so what happened the following week? Same thing, because I'm an entrepreneur. I work typically during normal business hours. My technical hours are like 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 or 8 to 6. But for the most part, I get up early. I'll check emails around 6 or 7 a.m. in the morning. And you know what? I will be available for business until 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Okay? If there's less of a load on any particular day, you know, I may be able to leave a little bit earlier, you know, to spend time with someone. But it varies. I had made this very clear to her when I first met her, and she just still didn't get it. So she questioned me a third time on it. And after that third time of questioning, I had enough. I went to go see her that day, and we actually went to lunch. I felt like just having lunch with somebody. I knew that was probably the last time I would ever see her. So I ended up taking her to lunch. I bought her lunch. And once I left the parking lot of that lunch and she left because, you know, we both only had time to hang out for lunch that day, I made a decision saying that I'm going to block her on my phone. We were also connected on Facebook. I blocked her on Facebook and I ghosted her and I was done. 3 strikes and you're out. In that situation, look, you know what? I gave this woman many chances. And I understood her situation. And I understood her schedule. And I understood. I've got a couple people over there, so I'm going to try to come across this way. Let's go a different way here. Show you folks a different part of the park. They're actually doing some construction here. They're building, I guess they're building a new playground or something. This is going to be under construction probably for a while, maybe at least 3, 4, 5, 6 months. I gave her chances. I gave her 3 chances. I was open and honest with her about my schedule. I tried to, be reasonable. And I tried to work things out in the way that was good for the both of us. I tried to compromise, once again, which is what I'm trying to say. And look, man or woman, or whoever you are as a person, if you're not the type of person that's willing to compromise certain things that you're used to, you're never going to be able to get along with anyone else. There's no one out there that's an exact replica of who you are. Okay? You are the only you. And in some rare cases, maybe you might have a similar schedule as someone, but every woman I've been with, their work schedule's been different than mine. And we've been able to find ways to, work through that. With this particular woman, it was impossible. But the reason why I mentioned this story is because I gave her 3 chances. I gave her 3 chances because that's the type of guy that I am. Now, I don't want you guys to think I'm an idiot for spending time with her after giving her more than 1 chance. I was in a transition period. I was in between relationships. And it was just nice to get out and have a dinner with somebody. Sometimes, even if someone's not the right person, and you're just looking for something to do, it's cool to hang out with someone. Okay? That's the way I looked at it. I was like, okay, whether this works out or not, I had a nice dinner. So what if I paid for her dinner? I got out. I experienced some new restaurants in her area that are only available in her area. So I was exploring a different, part of the Bay Area I hadn't really explored much before. There's always some benefit to something depending on how you look at it. That wasn't my intention, but you know what? Even though my intention was I wanted to get to know her and see if we could turn it into a relationship, because that's what she said she wanted initially, and that's what I think she wanted, I was not going to completely change my life and work schedule just to fit in with hers. And I wasn't expecting her to do the same thing. But what I did expect is what I would give, or any other normal person would give to make something work, is compromise. If someone's not willing to compromise, look, it doesn't matter how many chances you give them. It's never going to make a difference. And like I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this video, then it becomes insane. The definition of insanity, once again, is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. When I did the same thing with her 3 different times, I tried to explain to her my situation. And she kept reacting to it the same way. Every time I would run a little bit behind, the same thing happened. At that point, I'm like, fuck it, I'm out. I'm not going to do it anymore. Where are we at right now? We are at 43 minutes. Okay? So that's a situation where, you know what? You got to cut it off. You got to move forward. You got to cut your losses. Some people may ask, why did it take you 3 times to figure it out? Because you don't really know someone's intentions until they make the same mistake a couple, 2, 3 times. After I saw this pattern within her, it was enough for me. But if she did it 1 time, it might have been a fluke thing. If she did it the 2nd time, possibly could be a fluke thing. But if it happens a 3rd time, now you start to see a fucking pattern. And when you start to see a pattern that doesn't work for you, and you try to make a valid attempt to talk it out with that person, to compromise, and they don't do it, you got to move on. It's never going to change. Then you walk away. Now, this chick would have probably reached out to me, and she probably would have wanted to work things out, but I blocked her, I ghosted her, because I didn't even want her to reach out to me. I really did not. I really didn't feel there was anything she could do at that point to make things better. I felt that she was so stuck in her situation of her 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. job and her wanting me to be there by the time she would get off of work, 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and change my shit just to conform to hers, I really felt that I was never going to change. So it just wasn't worth even, not blocking her or ghosting her to see if she would reach out to try to work things out. It wasn't worth it to me, so I ghosted her. Now, I'm not the type of person out here that's going to come out and say, okay, we should be ghosting people, this and that. But it happens. Let's be real. In today's day and age of modern technology, okay, if you just, don't want to work something out with somebody, a lot of times people will stalk you on social media or they will blow up your phone. Back in the days before all this shit came out, if you didn't want to be with somebody or you walked away from somebody, the only way they could reach you was by telephone. Okay? The only way they could reach you was by telephone. Okay? And a lot of times, people didn't like calling the landline phones back then. Okay? But nowadays, there's just, there are too many ways for people to reach out to you, especially if you just walk away from somebody like I did this lady. I walked away and I didn't even tell her. When I left that restaurant that day, I basically walked away and I just blocked her and ghosted her. I didn't even feel it was worth it for me to explain to her. It's not that I didn't want to explain to her why I don't want to see her anymore. I just didn't want to deal with a woman that I was feeling was just emotionally unstable and all about herself and selfish. Okay? I honestly feel that there's no selfish person out there that even deserves closure. If you're a selfish person out there, okay, and you make it all about yourself, and you're dating someone and they dump you because you're selfish, you don't deserve closure. I feel the only people that deserve closure are people that are good-hearted people in it for the right reasons and care about others, not just themselves. Those people deserve closure, but selfish people don't deserve shit. Okay? That's just my opinion there. Where are we at right now? 47 minutes. Okay, I'm going to start walking back to my car here and wrap this thing up in just a few. So, yeah, those are some examples there about, giving people. How many chances should you give people? It's up to you. It's up to you how you live your life. Okay? It's up to you how many chances you want to give someone. But if you do give someone, chance after chance after chance after chance, especially like if you're in a relationship and you keep breaking up and getting back together, breaking up and getting back together, okay? And then the same thing, the same result happens over and over again. At some point, you got to realize that enough is enough and you got to cut your ties and nothing's ever going to change because, like I said earlier, again, and this will be for the third time, then you're becoming insane. You're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And because nothing is changing, you keep trying to make it change. And you're hoping it's going to change, but it doesn't. The best thing to do at that point is to walk away from that person. And as long as that person is not a selfish person, you don't have to ghost them because if you leave your line open, they might reach out to you a day or 2 or 3 down the road and apologize to you and say, you know what, I'm sorry for the mistakes that I made. I haven't been taking your feelings into consideration, whatever. Can we talk and work it out? Okay? But if that person is a selfish person, like the example I was giving with this chick I was, briefly hanging out with for like a 5 or 6 week period in between my last 2 relationships, okay? It's not even worth it. It's not even worth it, especially if you already given this person 3 fucking chances in like a month and a half period. This is during the honeymoon period, and you know what? We weren't even romantic or anything. We were just hanging out. But this is still technically considered the honeymoon period, the first 3 months. And during the first 3 months, which is supposed to be the funnest parts of a relationship, with no worries, you're already going to, throw 3 different things in my face, or you're going to throw the same thing in my face 3 different times, trying to get me to change within like a 5 or 6 week period. That's not going to work for me, and that shouldn't work for you either. That's just fucking insane. So that's another Coach Eli story there. I have many, many stories, guys. A lot of you guys out there think Just because of the fact that, I have not been intimate with too many women in my life, I don't sleep around, I don't play around, doesn't mean I haven't dated a lot of women. I've gone on a lot of dates. Okay? I just don't sleep with every woman that I'm with. I personally need to feel a strong emotional bond with a woman that I have sex with. Whether it happens sooner or later. Sometimes you meet someone and you sleep with them almost right away because it feels right. Sometimes it doesn't feel right, but they're a decent enough person to where you want to give them a chance, hang out with them, and see if in a month and a half or so it goes down the road. That's up to you. What I notice is it's either going to be there instantly or not. But in some cases, you may come across someone that's a cool person, and you might not initially, completely 100% feel it, but you somewhat feel it. You're kind of lukewarm, and you kind of want to test it out. That's up to you. Just because I haven't slept with a bunch of women doesn't mean I'm not qualified to be a coach, or doesn't mean I don't have experience. I've gone on many dates. I've dated many women. I'm just not the kind of guy that's going to, stick my thing into everything that walks. Some of you guys are. If that's how you are, it's your choice. If you're doing that, you better be putting on a raincoat and better be safe, because you don't know what's out there. Okay? But it's up to you. Once again, which way you want to go. If that's the way you want to go, you go that way. If I choose to go the way I want to go, and sometimes date a woman in a platonic way with no sex until I figure out if it's the right thing to do, that's my way. That's my choice. It's my choice. Okay? If you don't like that, that's fine. But that doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about or know what I'm doing. I'm just choosing a different path for myself. As a coach, I know all the options I have, which means I can share all those options with anyone I'm working with. But because I choose to go a certain path, doesn't make me any more or less qualified to do what I do. And I wanted to really, really clear that up today. That's another thing I wanted to clear up. Some people out there have questioned me, asking me, well, you don't have a whole lot of dating experience. How can you be a coach? Or, you've had your last 2 relationships failed. How can you call yourself a coach? When I would go out, if I were to go out and look for a coach, I would want someone where everything is working out. Nobody's perfect out there. Even Coach Corey Wayne's a single man, okay? He got married once in his 20s, and he's never been married since. And he's mentioned a few times in his videos that, he's been kind of dating this woman. But you hardly hear him mention that, because Corey Wayne is just like any average guy out there. He's out there dating women, but a lot of times it doesn't work out, whether it's him breaking up with her or she breaking up with him. He doesn't talk a lot about it, which is why you don't hear it, but that's the truth. Corey Wayne is pretty much doing the same thing I'm doing. The only difference is he has a larger following. He's been doing it longer, okay? And he doesn't get involved with a lot of the craziness I get involved with. Okay? But I don't hear people out there, saying that Corey Wayne, I wouldn't trust him, being a coach, because he doesn't have a relationship he's currently in that's working. Corey Wayne right now is a single man as far as I know. So let me know what your thoughts are about that. I know some people out there have been kind of talking about this through the grapevine. I kind of follow a bunch of people and I hear what they say, and I like to address everything. I like to be as transparent as possible. Just because right now I'm not in a happy, romantic, loving relationship doesn't mean I'm not capable of doing it. Doesn't mean I'm not qualified to do this. I'm a normal human being. I understand the principles of what it takes to make a relationship work. It doesn't mean it's going to always work for me or for you. But my principles allow others, including myself, the best shot of accomplishing whatever I want to accomplish or you want to accomplish. And that's the job of a coach right there. And that's how I'm going to end this video today at 54 minutes, almost 55 minutes here. All right, I'm hoping this video was in sync today. I'm hoping it's in sync. And if not, I may just have to go back to doing them at 30 frames per second. I really love the quality of doing 720p at 60 frames per second because you can see a lot of smooth motion here. It's just really beautiful here at the park. Just showing you some of the awesome scenery. Let me come over here before I wrap this up and just show you. Like, this is the backside here of where this playground is going to be built. It's pretty cool. So nice and green. This is where many months ago when I was doing videos, they had a circus out here. They had this zombie circus. They had put that circus here on this part of the lawn. It's just absolutely beautiful. This park is huge. It's such a big park, and I love it. And I made it through this video without getting rained on. So now I'm going to try to take 4 more laps, get another 4.5 miles in on my walk before I go back and upload this, okay? If you need my help in any way, just go to my website, coacheli.com, and click on the Coaching Services tab. I have many different ways I can help you there. Or if you would like for me to respond to you in a future video, if you have a topic that I feel would best benefit my entire audience, I may be willing to do a video on your topic for free. Just go to my website under the contact Elias, contact Coach Eli tab, and then look at the section where it says, submit your stories to the sanctuary, and there'll be an email there, sanctuary@coacheli.com. Send me an email there with your story, 3 to 4 paragraphs max or so, and if I feel it has enough value to the point of where it could help my entire audience, I will respond to your situation in a future public video for free. With that being said, have a great day, a great night, everyone, wherever you're at, and I will see you all soon. See you all next time. Bye-bye.